MLS Aces Podcast, episode 219. This is your host, Tom Sweezy. It is a pretty busy, pretty good week here around, the MLS Aces community here. I'm joined with Vaughn Pullman. Vaughn, you were running around Charlotte this weekend. I definitely saw that all over social media.
Oh man, it was such an incredible weekend. So many memories. I can't wait to let you guys in on my experience for the first home game for Charlotte FC.
We're gonna get back to back Vaughn story. Vaughn's, what do we call it? Vaughn's story time.
Fireside chats. I don't know.
Yeah, fireside, something like that. We're gonna get you talking
Vaughn.
about Charlotte this weekend. You were our boots on the ground in Charlotte, literally and figuratively and all of that. So we'll get your story about Charlotte's record-breaking game against the Galaxy, and also down below, Uncle Daddy Sam Nelson. How are you, Sam?
Hey guys, good to be back. Just another week in MLS, right? It was totally calm. There weren't like bicycle kicks and crazy goals and nonsense penalties. It was a quiet weekend.
You did miss last week. Again, for the people who follow you on social media, a major congratulations has to go out to Sam Nelson. He got the exciting news. He has a future USMNT member coming to the family.
Yes. Thank you. I'm very excited. It was a shock. I was honestly expecting to have another girl. Just kind of felt like the way I was going. I was ready to have two U.S. women's national team players of the future. I could have a striker and a goalie. It was really going to work out well. But a future son. I'm very excited. A new MLS fan.
We're going to get you another Twitter handle for Daddy Sam.
Yeah, I got to change that.
Two-time Daddy Sam Nelson.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, Sam, like you said, it was a crazy week of MLS soccer, right? But I think, again, I hate that the past 2 weeks we've had to start off with some negative news. I don't like doing it, but it is the real world, and it has been definitely something that's been popping up, especially right in the soccer community, the soccer world. The incidents that happened down in Mexico, I think it was a little around a week ago at this point in time of recording. Obviously, if you obviously know what I'm talking about when I'm bringing up the incidents that happened down surrounding Liga MX games. People have seen the retweets, people have seen the videos all over social media. It's an ugly affair. I never want this podcast to be one that bring people down and talk about negative stuff, but I really wanted this podcast to be a distraction for people from the real world, because the real world sucks, and let's just talk about soccer and have some fun doing that. But we do have to bring these up from time to time, and definitely just want to say our thoughts and prayers are out to the families and friends of those who were affected down in various videos in various situations down in Mexico. So I definitely just want to, I think, just say that universally for the three of us, for sure. Again, hopefully this podcast can be just a little bit of a break for you guys to just drift away, think about Major League Soccer, US soccer, and kind of just take your mind off the crazy shit that is the real world that happens outside of these three boxes right here, 4 boxes when Jason's here as well. So let's flip this, right? Let's talk about some good news. And I definitely want to say this, that we have to announce the winner of the MLS Aces Charlotte 70K giveaway. I put a task out there on Twitter that anyone who was at the Charlotte FC game this weekend had to find Vaughn, had to take a selfie with Vaughn and use the hashtag MLS Aces CLT Charlotte 70K giveaway. Giveaway wasn't part of the hashtag, but you get it. It was a giveaway for a $20 gift card to our partners, Added Time Outfitters. And I do get to announce that Uptown Ultras at Ultras Uptown is the winner of the giveaway. So I will be sliding into your DMs probably later tonight or tomorrow to be giving away that code for a $20 gift card again to Added Time Outfitters. So thank you, Vaughn, for being part of this. Thank you, Uptown Ultras, and also thank you to Added Time Outfitters for having a little fun and giving away a little love for an amazing day in Charlotte, North Carolina. Vaughn, how was that experience? I know I saw a few pictures of people finding you and taking some selfies.
I think I had more selfies that were taken with me that people just didn't know the hashtag.
Yeah, people just wanted to take a selfie with you.
Yeah, I think a couple of them, they just sent it to me in DMs, and I'm like, this isn't going to work, but it's fine. So
Sorry,
yeah,
you're not going to win.
I've got some nice mementos from the day. A lot of very happy people, but no, I was so happy for the Charlotte community on Saturday. It was an incredible experience, from the tailgate to the march to the in-stadium theatrics to the national anthem, and then even the game. I mean, the only thing missing was a goal and a win. Like everything else went according to plan, and it was so special to be a part of. And to be quite frank, so many people in the Charlotte soccer community have put up with a lot of BS to get to Saturday. I was calling it culmination day, like, for not coronation day for the Queen City, but culmination day. And that was the culmination of so much hard work, so much blood, sweat, tears, of people pouring their hearts and souls into soccer in the community. And it felt like the big payoff. It felt like for the city, it was the tide turning on something really special happening around soccer in our community, and to be a part of that, to get to experience it firsthand. Very fortunate, very grateful. And I'm just excited to see what we can build upon from here, because that first game, that first experience was something I'll cherish forever.
Yeah, I mean, and for those who don't know what Vaughn is referencing, I'm sure you do, but there may be that one person out there who's like, Vaughn, what the hell are you talking about? Charlotte FC had their first ever home game last weekend on Saturday, and in doing that, broke the MLS attendance record by hosting 74,479 fans at Bank of America Stadium. That broke the 2018 MLS Cup attendance record that was previously held down in Atlanta of 73,019 fans. Also, the cool thing that I saw on MLSsoccer.com, that the Charlotte FC game versus the Galaxy also fell in second for a world attendance game, I think falling just behind Liverpool-Chelsea, which had a little over 85,000 fans. So very cool moment for Charlotte overall. I think, Vaughn, like you were saying, as a city, as just a fan base, that we're leading up to this very, very special moment. And then really, like you said, I think it would have just been kind of like the cherry on top with a win at the end of the day. But you could tell by some of the quotes of players coming out of this game. I think Jalen Lindsay stuck out to me. His quote stuck out to me the most, of just kind of how much it meant for them to like just look out into the stands, into the crowd, and just see that support and that fan base rooting for them and cheering them on. And we'll just kind of steer right into the Charlotte FC game at this point. But Vaughn, before we get to you, and I want you to just give us a breakdown of your day, the game, all that stuff. Sam, you obviously, you're an MLS fan. I can easily say that. But
so
but
cool.
You saw the game, you saw the clips, you've listened to Vaughn just as much as we have to kind of pick up on where Charlotte is and what they're doing and their efforts and everything like that. What was your thought as an outsider watching that game, like looking into just the absolute madness that was that weekend?
God, it was like the coolest thing to see, like a culmination of years in the making, like Vaughn said, like to come to this point, have 74,000 people in one stadium to watch your team is the coolest thing ever. Like that's absolutely, I couldn't even, like, as a DC fan, I don't think that many fans would show up to a DC United game. I truly don't think they would. And to see that in Charlotte, and what I imagine will be a regular occurrence of that many people kind of going to these games, is really cool. And it's nothing but good for the league. And makes me want a road trip to a Charlotte game if Vaughn's got a guest room. So
always welcome.
There we go.
Hey, Vaughn, that room again, that room you showed me pictures of a few months ago or weeks ago at this point, whatever. Beautiful room. That is maybe more of the draw over the Charlotte game itself. No. But Vaughn, let's talk about it. I want to start with pregame because I know there was, every MLS US soccer personality I feel like you can think of was down there. There was obviously drinks flowing, there was cheers, there was flags, scarves, everything you could possibly think of. So I want to hear the pregame and then obviously, go into the game, all that stuff. Please let us hear it.
Well, and I can only speak to my experience because I went all in on the supporters group fan culture angle of it. So I got uptown around noon and helped set up the tailgate, which is about a quarter mile away from the stadium. It's on a lot that I think Tepper Sports and Entertainment owns. And what's wonderful is that the supporters groups have all been very collaborative with one another, very welcoming to one another. And so in this lot, we had all, I don't know, it's like 8 or 9 main supporters groups. And every single one of them had their own tailgate set up with tents and food and drinks and everything. And it was free. It was just come on out and party in this massive lot. And everybody spread the word that was going to be the place to meet up. A lot of the foundation of the tailgating experience, I think, was a foundation from the Panthers side with the Roaring Riot. So there's a few guys that are leaders in Mint City Collective who are part of Roaring Riot. And so one of the main guys that was setting it up was a guy named Chris Harmon. And he laid everything out for the Mint City Collective side and the supporters groups, working very closely with the team to coordinate, stuff you don't even think about is like insurance rules for the lot and like, how do you set up getting a storage container for all the groups? And like, there's so many details that went into it. So it was just incredible. There were probably, I wouldn't be shocked if there were 2,000 people in that lot. We had Bojangles giving out free chicken tenders and fries. There was music blaring from all corners. Blue Furia was walking around doing the chants and the drums, and then all of the members from the team and different community, like Ryan Bailey showed up and he's like making circles around the lot and chatting with everyone. Sean McIntosh, the chief fan officer. They really were so accessible, and it just was so nice for the community to have that like gathering moment before the game. We were out there for like 5 or 6 hours before we finally did the march to the stadium, and it was just like, all right, everybody pack up, let's go and march on in. And then the party just kept going from there. And then the game, the stadium, it was roaring. I've been to some big games in that stadium. I was at the NFC Championship game. It was the best energy and the loudest I've experienced that for really any sporting event.
The national anthem was the coolest part of that.
So
pregame.
cool.
Obviously not the ideal situation, but I think the fans, like you guys, like made that such a special moment.
It was goosebumps because like everybody was just like first note, like didn't matter. She stopped. Everybody was in.
We're singing.
And we're singing. We know exactly what to do. And just that feeling in the stadium, like it was pretty wild. Yeah.
From that point on, obviously there was a game, right? Like the pregame. No, we're not just here for the social media clips, Sam.
I love that.
But obviously you guys, again, coming from a Saturday night, Vaughn, I was telling you before we started recording, I had a few buddies over who aren't MLS fans. I got them to, want to watch this game because I told them there'd be 70,000 people sitting in a stadium watching an MLS game. They were down to watch, the Galaxy draw. I told them Douglas Costa was on the field. And they're like, oh, got it. Okay, we'll watch. That was, one of the also main polls. But, we were able to sit down, watch the game, and they were like, wow, like the fans are loud. Like this seems like a real, like, European type environment. And that was something, again, from a non-MLS fan point of view that they were pointing out to me. But the fans, the experience was well known throughout the entire game. I think for 90 minutes, you heard them, you heard the impact that they were trying to have on the game. I think, again, from what players were saying, they felt it. They saw the impact. They heard the impact. So I guess, how was it cheering for like 90 minutes straight, Vaughn? How was that experience as well?
I will say, actually, that was probably the part that was the weirdest for me, because the supporters section in Bank of America Stadium, like what they blocked out for the supporters section, is like almost 4,000 seats. It is the largest supporter section in MLS.
Okay.
And being in that stadium, the capos at the front could not hear them. There's three of them. There's three of them, all with bullhorns. Couldn't hear a peep.
Nothing.
I was like in the 200 section, like just a little bit higher up with a little bit better vantage point for the game. And I could not hear the drums or the chanting from them being like 100 feet in front of me.
You just heard cheering the entire time.
I saw their mouths moving. I saw people bouncing. And I know all the chants. I've been involved with the chant committee. Nothing. I knew not where we were, anything.
Like, where are we, sir?
So there were people just starting like random chants, random ole ole oles, random Charlotte FCs, random whatever they wanted to do, and it was mayhem, but it was loud. I mean, everybody was trying to be part of that environment, so it didn't even matter. Like, that's what shocked me, was like, yeah, we're gonna chant, we're gonna scream, and we're gonna do whatever for 90 minutes. No, there's no organization. There was an attempted organization. There was none of it that was actually working.
Was there any magical beers coming from the sky this time, Vaughn?
No, not this time. I actually stopped before the game. I stopped at the tailgate because I wanted to just 100% soak it in. I mean, it was something that I just wanted to be in the moment. So that was me personally.
I mean, to me, I really, I feel like I heard you guys the most because, Kalina and net was huge for you guys. I think he had 5 saves, if I'm not mistaken, on that.
And they were good saves. Yeah.
They were, it wasn't just like, a tap away or whatever. It may be like he had 5 very big, important, huge saves. I feel like that's when I heard you guys the most. Obviously, when there was a shot on net for you guys, it was heard. But the impact he had in the game, and I think that was recognized, especially after probably saved 3 or 4, was definitely something that I think resonated, again, outside of person, going into onto TV and everything like that. But we do have to mention the goal, Vaughn. Efrain Alvarez with an absolute banger, like one of the best goals of the weekend, maybe probably goal of the weekend if Yimmi Chara didn't go back to back on his bicycle this weekend.
It was a better goal than that. That wasn't even a bike. That was a half bike. But no, Efrain Alvarez, it was a worldie. I mean, if that's what it takes to beat Kalina and the expansion team, okay, whatever. Like, hands thrown up, whatever. It's what it is.
You can't stop that.
No, and it's not like there was anything really that Charlotte FC did in that moment. Like, it wasn't like there was a defender that lost him. Maybe could have closed the space a little bit more, but you're not expecting him to hit it that clean from that spot. I mean, it was absurd.
I think it's stupid that Raheem Edwards got an assist on that. I'm just going to call that out. That's not like Raheem Edwards put in a ball that impacted, Efrain hitting that. Like, no, like he just hit that. But look, I mean, overall, I just want to say, as an outsider, it was an amazing day for an MLS fan, someone who obviously runs an MLS podcast. Like, I love seeing it. I love seeing the growth. It's only going to get better. Sam, like you said, I feel like this is something, maybe not 74,000 every weekend, but I feel like this is something we're going to see a lot of people showing up to Charlotte FC games week after week. And they're going to have one of those better attendance records.
Yeah, well, they're also going to only have the lower bowl for the rest of the season. Maybe they'll open that up at some point, but from the sound of it, they're capping it at the lower bowl, which I think is somewhere between 32 and 36. It depends on how they're doing the seats in like the suite area. But they have 23,000 season ticket holders. So the average attendance is going to be
20,000 plus.
Easily, yes. Like they guaranteed 23,000 every single game.
So, also in the middle of all of this, NYCFC's let up a goal and scored a goal, and I'm trying not to interrupt you, Vaughn. I'm just freaking.
I forgot that game was happening. I just see you like
wanna. Yeah, this way again. This
So
way is the
upset.
TV. So if you see breaths and reactions this way, I'm sorry, but oh my god.
Live
Okay,
updates are fine. Live updates are fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So NYCFC let up a fucking goal to a Guatemalan first division team, and then Maxi Morales, with the goal of his own. So we're back up 2-1. Okay, Vaughn or Sam, is there
He's not
anything
stressed at all.
else? Is there anything else about the Charlotte overall experience, the Charlotte Galaxy game, pregame, postgame, Efrain Alvarez goal, whatever you want to talk about? Is there anything else from this weekend that we want to cover there before we move on?
I think beyond I'm just happy for the league. I'm happy for the Charlotte community, but also more globally than that, the league itself. Having healthy franchises coming in, having new communities that support the sport like that, getting that many eyes on a game, it's fantastic, and it's how the league's going to continue to grow. So I'm happy beyond just Charlotte, but for the whole league, that we've got another team like this.
Yeah, and I'm happy for the people who get to experience this for the first time. I see a lot of toxic Charlotte Independence fans out there on Twitter, not happy that 70,000 turned out to a Charlotte FC game, but not, an Independence game, whatever. We're going to talk about the whole lower division argument against MLS, and that's a whole rabbit hole we're not getting down, but I'm happy for the people who got to, if this was their first soccer experience, let them enjoy it, let them love it, come back for more. Because Charlotte again didn't look awful against the Galaxy at all either. And if you're gonna go out to your first game and see a banger of a goal, then that's fantastic in its own right. But if there's another person we can be happy for in the MLS kind of landscape today, Sam, you brought this up earlier. It's BWP. It's Bradley Wright-Phillips, one of the legends, mainstays, staples of Major League Soccer for almost 10 seasons, I personally feel like. Obviously, BWP had his 9 seasons between the Red Bulls, between the Crew and LAFC, mainly. And I think everyone knows him for playing for the Red Bulls. Dax McCarty put out the tweet already saying, Red Bulls, let's get the statue out in front of the stadium. I fully agree with that, because the dude was an absolute menace and one of the best strikers we've seen in the league. 3-time Supporter Shield winner, a Campeones Cup winner. He's a best 11 player 2 times, Golden Boot winner. He was part of the CONCACAF best 11 team on the club side. He's 6th all time in MLS goals scored, right? Like an absolute legend on the field is what Bradley Wright-Phillips was. And I can tell you countless stories of watching him score against NYCFC and me just hating the dude. And Sam, I'm going to turn it to you because I know there's countless games you saw him demolish DC United.
Oh, yeah. Man, dude's, look, it sucked watching him demolish DC and just watching him as a rival team, like, just be as good as he was. Man, Bradley Wright-Phillips, and only 9 seasons. I always hate when we, a guy retires, you put up all his numbers, and you go, that can't be right. 9 years, that's it? That's as long as he's been in my life, 9 seasons.
Yeah.
Dude's a stud. Just a goal-scoring machine. By all accounts, a great teammate. Fantastic work ethic. Just a good guy. And, good for him. Congrats on a great career. Bouncing around at the end of his career was a bit different. I wasn't expecting him to go to Columbus for their CCL run that wasn't. But
yeah,
I'll never let you live that down, Tom. And
it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. That's my one. But look, Bradley Wright-Phillips is an amazing MLS player and deserves all the plaudits in the world. And I hope him the best in retirement. I'm never going to watch one of your goal compilations because I'm pretty sure a bunch of them are against DC.
Look, the other thing that I want to say about it, right? I'll own it. The Red Wedding of New York City FC, Bradley Wright-Phillips scored every fucking goal it felt like in that game. It's incredible because when I was looking up his stats and everything like that, it is incredible. He only played in technically 8.5 seasons of Major League Soccer. 9. He played in 9 seasons, but time-wise, it was 8.5 seasons. He started off in 2013 with the Red Bulls playing with Thierry Henry, Tim Cahill, Lloyd Sam, that group of Red Bull players, which is absolutely insane. And then his last year with the Red Bulls in 2019, it's the group of like Brian White, like Tom Barlow, like Sean Davis, Daniel Royer, like the generation of Red Bull roster like turnover that he was a part of was just incredible. I don't know. I don't want to just sit here and keep praising the dude, but he is an absolute legend of Major League Soccer. I think you're not going to find another striker that did it, the way that 99 did it week in and week out. Vaughn, obviously, I know you're not a direct rival of the New York Red Bulls, but is there anything you want to say about BWP and his retirement?
I mean, just same thing. Mad respect. Another person that was a talisman for a club for so many years. And, to lose guys like Bradley Wright-Phillips and Chris Wondolowski, and what they meant to those organizations and to the league and its growth, it's almost immeasurable. And so for Bradley Wright-Phillips, it was one of those ones, very, very weird. He's like Ozzy Alonso, like watching him go and play for LAFC and Columbus. It doesn't look right because he's Mr. Red Bull. Kudos on an incredible career, and for what he brought to Red Bulls for so many years.
And like I said, won a trophy everywhere he went in Major League Soccer. Not obviously everywhere he went in his career. He had a nice long career in the lower divisions of England, but 2 supporter shields with the Red Bulls, a supporter shield with LAFC, a Campeones Cup with the crew. Dude wins. At the end of the day, he came to America. He wins. Let's build that statue right outside Red Bull Arena. Please and thank you. Obviously, we have to wait for Wandos and Valeri's, but it's coming. It's coming. Cool. Let's dive into what I brought up before in CCL, just super quickly. We don't have to mention it. NYCFC scored again. It's 3-1. It's a great night right now. But we have the quarterfinals. We have the matchups. Obviously, we're talking right now live during one of them. NYCFC playing Guatemalan First Division club Comunicaciones. Then shortly after this, it's going to be the Sounders playing Club Leon. The Revs, they have Pumas, and then the CF Montreal have Cruz Azul. I put out a blog. Yep, that's the same thing. I put out a blog on MLS, a blogical on MLSAces.com, just kind of really previewing the 4 matchups and throwing out, of course, I have to throw out my predictions because it wouldn't be me or anything like that if it wasn't a prediction at the end of it. But I predicted 3 MLS teams to move on, and I think that's some high hopes along with it. But I guess I want to hear your guys' takes. You don't have to tell me. You can just tell me if there's a matchup or if you feel like, an MLS team has a good shot at maybe sneaking into another final. I don't know. Vaughn, you wanna go?
I don't know, man. I mean, NYCFC should go through. I think Seattle's good enough if they can get their stuff together, because they're not showing the results in the league yet. I think they've got a good shot to move on. New England, you can make a case for everyone. I would be shocked if Montreal got past Cruz Azul.
That was my one that I picked, Cruz Azul. Yeah. But
Montreal also is the team that has gone on like wild CCL runs before. So
true.
What do I know?
We know
anything
nothing.
Could happen. No, we know nothing, and that's why we all have CCL fever.
Exactly. Sam, I know you're such a huge fan of CCL and thinking an MLS team is going to win it every single time.
It's like March Madness, though. Like, who the fuck knows, right? I don't know. I think, Montreal, I know once Cruz is a little bad, but I don't think that's going to go very well. My thing is, I always think that Sounders are, so well built for these kinds of runs, but they start so poorly every year. And by June, they're the best team in MLS. Until October, November, if they don't win MLS Cup. So, but March, April, Seattle Sounders is a pretty tough get. And so playing a good team like Club Leon is going to be harsh. I think they can do it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't, just because of the way the team is. That's just kind of like their thing. I don't even know about how good Pumas is this year, so I can't even make a claim.
Not very good.
Oh, well.
I've been doing a lot of research into form, everything like that.
Okay.
Pretty much Pumas, Club Leon, both haven't really been playing well in the Liga MX Clausura. I'm not going to sit here and say Cruz Azul's been playing excellent as well, but they're probably the best
It's a good team,
left
though.
overall in CCO. A deep team. So I personally think like Cruz Azul wipes the floor with Montreal. I know Montreal just beat Santos Laguna. Like, thank you. Like, it was awesome to just not have another Mexican team involved. But like, sorry, Montreal, what's up? I think New England can get past the Pumas side. You have an experienced coach in Bruce Arena who's coached international club competitions in CONCACAF before. I like to think a deep roster there. Carlos Hill, Josie Altidore, Gustavo Bo. I like to think it. And then, I think Seattle, Club Leon's going to be tight. I think Seattle can do it. Will they? Who the hell knows? And New York City should get past Guatemala.
God, I hope so.
And they just should.
Seattle Club Leon is like must watch though. Like,
I'm excited for that tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be intense.
It's going to be another late kickoff because we had it this weekend. It was a 10 p.m. Eastern kickoff for LAFC Portland, and I think we should just transition right into that game because, oh my God, I need MLS to not schedule a 10 p.m. kickoff. Like, I could not stay up more than 45 minutes in this. But it was a very good game when I rewatched. I can't. Sunday night, 10 p.m. kickoff. Give me a Saturday night, 10 p.m. kickoff if you're going to give me that. But,
all right, fair enough. That's fair.
Timbers, LAFC, got work in the morning. A ton of talent on these rosters, right? That's why this was primed to be a very good game. We already alluded to it. Yimmi Chara had another, I'll call it a bike. It wasn't a bike. I know it's not a bike. It was a sick goal. It was a sick goal. Just accept it, everyone. So he had another one back-to-back weeks. And then obviously the late game tying goal from Mamadou Fall. I think he has like 4 or 5 goals in his like MLS career, and he's like 19 years old, and it's absolutely insane that this big ass center back is just banging in goals left and right. But whatever. Does anyone have any immediate takes or questions or comments about this game that they want to throw out about anything?
Well, 2 things. First of all, credit to Brian Rodriguez for making that goal even happen. Without his getting to the end line and getting the ball into Mamadou just tapped it in, and even Mamadou like Christian Arango pushed him to the spot, like he was like go. So
Arango's like, we need you there.
Yeah, so like yes, the score sheet shows Mamadou Fall, and yes, he was in the right place, right time. But a lot of that was on Brian Rodriguez. Very interesting thing to keep an eye on with Carlos Vela. Also, thanks a lot, Carlos. I needed your fantasy points. I captained you, and you let me down.
Dope.
I do want to definitely give Brian Rodriguez his shouts because there was many times when I watched, obviously, the first half live, rewatched the second half, where Brian Rodriguez just absolutely smoked Van Rankin on that right side. Like, whoever it was, Brian Rodriguez, like, I think he's I think he's coming into his own of why he is an Uruguayan national team member, right? Like why he's so highly looked upon for his national team and why, he was the next signing after Vela, after Rossi, and why he's that next dude up. I think if you can get consistent performances out of him, maybe you don't need to rely on Carlos Vela as much as you do, because he could be that Diego Rossi replacement. Hopefully, I think that's the whole plan, right? So if you want, let's dive into Vela. Vela's taken off at the half. Cherundolo the next day or after the game says that he was taken off for precautionary reasons. Obviously we've hammered it home last week, I think, where this Vela will take this team as far as they could possibly go. If you want to consider LAFC an MLS Cup contender, it's because Vela is fully healthy. He's playing every game. He's like assisting or scoring on a goal every single game. But Sam, I'll turn it to you since we didn't get to hear your LAFC take last week. A game and a half of Carlos Vela. He had a hat trick week 1. He's taken off at the half, injured in week 2. Is this just what you think we're gonna see another season of this kind of Vela game?
It's going to be hard. I mean, Vela, I think the problem is Vela is like the guy. And so you want, especially if I'm Steve Cherundolo, first season in MLS as a coach, I want my guy, the encapsulation of LAFC as a team on the field every game. But he needs some time. Like he's going to need some time to really figure out what's going on. Is like his knee clicking every time he walks? Because like that's a problem. Maybe we should get that looked at more instead of just shoving him on the field. Like I don't know. So like you understand, like it's a very hard situation to be in as a coach. It's a hard situation to be in as a player because you want to play. This theoretically, according to reports, is Vella's last season. So
yeah,
in MLS,
that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing.
It might be his last half season.
Yeah,
exactly.
he could be leaving during the summer.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's harsh. I would probably, if it were me and my physio said give him 3 weeks, I give him 4 and just see how he does when he comes back. But that puts LAFC in a really bad position. What'd you say?
I said if you were running an FM save, you would have given that extra week off.
I'd give him an extra week off, but like that's really hoping that my backup is pretty decent. So I don't know.
No, I mean, look, it's totally fair. I think again, like you alluded to it, the big question mark is too, like Vella's contract runs out this summer. There's the big question marks of does he sign for another 6-month contract after that or an extension, whatever you want to call it, right? Like I don't know. Like this season for LAFC is definitely gonna fall on Vella, even if Rodriguez and Arango are banging in goals and Mamadou Fall's stepping up as a teenage sensation at center back, just getting pushed into goal situations too. But Vella really is the push them over the edge type player.
He's the guy.
Vaughn, I know you clearly, I see it in your face, Vaughn. You want to say something about the contract situation, I think. No, maybe. Am I reading it wrong? I'm not good at reading people.
We've talked about it. What we said that he was going to be so dangerous if he's healthy and hungry. This is now we already have a question: is he healthy? So it like you said, it all boils down to if he's on the field or not. I think the good sign is he wasn't on the field here, and they came back into the game and salvaged some points. This game felt like LAFC of old. Like watching this game, they only had that one goal, but they had many chances. Like Vella nearly scored one with his left boot again. Arango was very close a couple times. Rodriguez was close. I think he hit the post. Poku was all over the place. Like there are good things happening in LA for LAFC. And this matchup against the Timbers, I will say, and I'm sure we'll get to it, but like two teams I feel like I was really, really wrong on already were Portland that I had outside of the playoffs. I don't think it could have been further from the truth on that.
And season, Vaughn.
Red Bulls. That's another team we'll talk about that is really, really catching me off guard.
So I will agree with Sam, Vaughn. Don't count your chickens that you were wrong yet. Or no, that's not the right saying. Don't say you were wrong yet. I'll correct myself. I think the Timbers still could be what you and I thought they were, because I know we both picked them outside of the playoffs. I don't think you can rely on Yimmi Chara to hit an over the head goal week in and week out. And
you don't know that yet. You cannot say that yet. It's 2 for 2.
Yeah, Portland and Austin are having like major hipster vibe battles here. Like one's all about the bikes, another one's like we're scoring goals just because like they're in,
Yeah,
goals just in. I don't know where that was coming. Just in.
The other thing about Portland is like Claudio Bravo got the red card in this game that obviously, being up a man, I really do think probably gave LAFC, numbers going forward towards the end of the game. I think it was a stupid second foul for Bravo. I like Bravo a lot. I think he could be one of the better left backs in the league, but does make stupid decisions from time to time.
And then soft second yellow. It was soft.
It was, but Claudio Bravo, I think also probably, I think he earned it with a few other maybe soft calls he got before or didn't get before that. And then the other person I want to just highlight, with Zuparic out and with Mabiala out, Zach McGraw has stepped up big for them at center back. Like he's looked great. I think he's not overly MLS experienced, so when you give him more minutes, he'll probably continue to do well and succeed and look good and probably be a starting center back for them if things keep up, right? But I just want to kind of give the Timbers a little bit of highlight because that was a lot of LAFC praise from us there. Vaughn, you brought up Austin. Sam, I know you wanted to talk
This is a
about
great
Austin.
transition too. I like that, Vaughn.
Austin, I'm trying. Yes, Vaughn, I know. I'm sorry. You threw it up for me, and I had to go back to give the Timbers their love.
Jason's not here. We don't have to do that.
Austin put up 5 goals again, back-to-back week where Austin had a 5 mark next to their name. They defeated Inter Miami 5-1 this week, and for a second straight week they did that, and they set the MLS record for through 2 weeks of the season, scoring 9 goals. One of the goals that they had in week 1 was an own goal, so technically they didn't score it. So that's, I guess, how that's marked. But I mean, this team's just really, really good. Sam, you wanted to talk about Austin, so I'll give you your shot here.
It was a fun game to watch this weekend. Like I was able to actually watch this whole game, and give it credit where credit's due. It was Miami they were playing, who we're not all very high on, but they looked really solid, and they were able to find space. They were able to do some good 1-2s. They also were just able to make some really stupid good balls in that guys like Sebastian Driussi were able to get on the end of. Like Driussi looks really good for MLS. I think because he came in August last season. So he had a half season in MLS.
Halfway of last year.
Yes, he had a half season last year with Austin, full preseason this year, ready to go. I mean, this dude was MLS ready last year. And I think he's really going to start showing his own this season with Austin. I don't think they've solved all their problems. But I am saying they haven't lost with Kip Keller on the field yet, which is really good news. So just had to bring that guy in. It's my dude. So they're fun to watch. Like we just said, 9 goals, 10 goals in 2 games against 2 bad teams. But you can only beat the teams that are in front of you, and they beat the crap out of the teams in front of them. So do we know who they're playing next week? I should have looked this up.
I think it's someone good. I think it's Portland.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be really fun. So we're going to have 5 goals, but one of them is going to be an overhead kick. And it's just going to be a goal glut. I love it. They're a fun team. They're a fun team to watch. They're another stadium I want to go and visit. They just look like they're having a good time.
I somehow guessed really right that I saw that somewhere in my brain. They are playing Portland next weekend. Wow,
that's going to be a fun game. Oh, in Portland?
Yeah, in Portland.
Okay.
In Portland, yeah.
That's true. Both of these games were home games, weren't they? Cincinnati and that helps a lot too. Yes.
If there's one thing, Sam, that so you brought it up, right? They played 2 quote unquote bad teams. They scored a lot of goals. I've been seeing people on both sides of the fence on Twitter, because I live on MLS Twitter, saying Austin's not good because they beat Cincy and Miami. Austin is good because they put up 10 goals in 2 games. Driussi looks like an MVP candidate early on, blah, 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 blah. If there's one thing that I learned from Daryl Grove in my many years of listening to the Total Soccer Show, things can be 2 things at once. Austin can look really good and look like a much improved, better team from 2021 and play 2 poor teams. And that could also be a factor, right? Austin has looked good. They have played the teams in front of them. They have dominated the teams in front of them. And that's what you want to see a good team do. A good team is going to go out and smack down a really bad team. Driussi is going to go out there and he's going to make a bad team, a bad defense, embarrassed. And he has 3 goals and 2 assists in 2 weeks. He is going to be the player that is the ringleader for Austin FC in 2022, and everyone else just needs to support that, and they have, and good on them so far in 2 weeks. Vaughn, I'll turn it to you.
Well, and credit to Ethan Finley, because he had a brace in this one too.
He put some nice shots on. My God.
Well, I think that's the thing. We all know it's not sustainable, right? That's the easiest take of the century. But right now they are playing with so much confidence. Regardless of opponent, their shots, the chance creation that they're getting, and the accuracy and power of their shots. It's if it's going off the boot, it's going in the net. That's just how it felt watching the game. So I think for Austin, it's a great way to start your year. Regardless of how good you are, right? Like it's all about form. It's all about vibes. It's all about like the sports psychology side of it. And you couldn't ask for a better start for Austin. I think, we're going to start seeing some measuring stick games, and this is going to be the first one against Portland. If they go out there and, if it's 4-2, but like it could absolutely be like 4. All right, we're going to have to really start talking about Austin and be like, how many are they going to get? Like, is this a team that can keep doing this? Driussi, is he the next Hani Mukhtar? Like he could start working his way quickly into MVP conversation. So I'm happy for them to start that way. It gives me hope for the future for Charlotte FC.
Year 2 could be better.
Well, and the stat that blows my mind is the comparison to FC Cincinnati in their second year in the COVID year. 23 games, but in 23 games they scored 12 goals. 12. So Austin's at 10 through 2 games versus Cincinnati that only had 12 in their second year.
I saw some stat that Austin's already scored like 40% of their goals total that they scored last year, or 30% or something like that.
They had 35, right? Didn't they have just over 1 goal per game?
So you're at 30%. Let's just call it whatever it is, 35%, whatever, of goals that they scored all of 2021. Like, I mean, Josh Wolf, obviously something is clicking for the team in year 2, that maybe they got rid of a few bad apples, players that Josh Wolf didn't see succeeding under him, replaced them, and now they're doing better, right?
I like Josh Wolf. I think he's going to be a really good coach.
I can agree. I think he just needs to kind of find his footing a little bit in coaching and get more experience. The only other thing that I want to say about this game is congratulations to Diego Fugunda, the youngest ever player to hit 300 MLS appearances. He's only 27, so that's mind-blowing. If we want to I know that's gross. That's gross.
Miami, Miami had some chances, and they obviously scored a goal. I think it was kind of like a bouncy deflection in, but then they took some shots. They had a really good free kick that if it wasn't for the steely wrists of the Austin goalkeeper, it was going to go through the net. They had a couple of chances. They don't
Brad Stuver like that.
No, that's I'm respecting
former NYCFC.
I'm respecting his steely wrists. His steely wrists.
Former
whose
NYCFC.
name I forget.
Oh my goodness.
Whatever.
Former
That's some
NYCFC
weird Homer shit.
Backup goalkeeper Brad Stuver.
That's some weird Homer shit. Look, he looks really good. He looked good the first half of last year too. He was I think we talked about all-star type caliber goalkeeper, and then he really fell off second half. But like I said, he kept some really good shots out of the net. So he's someone to keep an eye on. And Miami, just keep shooting. Maybe he'll come up against the bad goalkeeper one week.
Gonzalo Higuain, keep complaining.
He's gone soon, right?
Hopefully. I mean, he scores numbers wise, he produces, but I just I don't think he's great for Major League Soccer.
And wasn't Miami's goal Leonardo Campana? So also his first.
Higuain assisted on Campana's goal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that's
good for him getting his first MLS one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, congrats. We're giving a lot of firsts out these first 2 weeks. A lot of debuts, a lot of firsts. Congratulations, Caleb Wiley last week. Let's just give it all out. All right, let's talk about NYCFC and Seattle in this token. We already talked about them a little bit in CCL. Vaughn, you brought it up, but both teams struggling in MLS play. NYCFC continuing to win in CCL as of their 3-1 result tonight, but both teams have not recorded a win through 2 weeks. NYCFC lost to the Galaxy in week 1 and then drew 0-0 to the Whitecaps this past week. Seattle losing 1-0 twice so far to Nashville week 1 at home, and then RSL this past weekend with a heavily rotated roster for CCL, of course. But are you guys concerned about either of these clubs, or are you just thinking CCL the priority right now, and then we'll focus on MLS after? Some nods, yes.
It's a long season. Why would I worry about the first 3 weeks if I'm in a club continental competition at the same time? It's not something to worry about. And like we already said, Seattle starts slow, so that's just kind of what it is. I don't remember NYCFC's past records, But like, it's one of those things where you start to heat up in like May over the summer. You really find your form, like, and that's what you carry into the playoffs. Like, I'm not worried about any results these first couple weeks in terms of telling me how the playoffs are going to turn out.
Well, and also overall team health, right? Like, for Seattle, they've got the Raul Ruiz injury that is maybe a concern. But we also saw them, go a whole season without Jordan Morris and Nico Lodeiro and be just fine. So I almost have a pass for them on that. Like, they'll be okay. So yeah, these two clubs, I'm not freaking out yet. No, like, absolutely.
Neither am I.
CCL.
But I just want to make sure we're not panicking too much on this podcast. And I think another team that I don't think we should be panicking
about.
Panicking?
No!
I'd love to hear your takes if I should be panicking is Atlanta United, because after I don't know if we use the general term. I think I did, and I don't know, Vaughn, correct me if Jason did as well, but I think I gave Atlanta United a lot of praise after week one, saying this looks like the Atlanta United team of a few years ago, whatever it may be. We had a lot of concerns raised about the Colorado Rapids. Vaughn, you said, like, they're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And look what happens week 2. Obviously, yes, Atlanta United rotated the roster a lot. A lot of players are out injured. A lot of players like Thiago Almada still hasn't kind of gotten into form yet to play for the club. And then Colorado goes out and smacks that rotated team 3-0 at home. Before this game, the Rapids scored 1 goal from the field of play. That was in CCL against Comunicaciones. But now Diego Rubio just all of a sudden decides to maybe be that $5 to $7 million DP striker that I've been yelling about for Kroenke for the past 4 episodes. And he scored 1, assisted to Jonathan Lewis in this game. So I guess, do you guys think that this game is any type of representation for either team? I'm going to safely let's focus on the Rapids. I'm going to safely say no for Atlanta. This is a heavily rotated Atlanta team. Many of their stars weren't in there. A lot of youngsters in there. Atlanta, you get a pass this week. Sam, I'll go to you because we heard Vaughn's take last week. Are you concerned, happy with Colorado? Like, I guess, what's your take on Colorado so far through 2 weeks?
I don't know. Last week, I definitely wasn't concerned about Colorado. It was an LAFC team that we expected to be, kind of on that comeback trail, like we just said, like Vela hat trick. Like, it is what it is. You kind of come up against an immovable object and you're Colorado. It happens. Happens to the best of us sometimes. This week, I actually was surprised by the scoreline. I'm not totally surprised that Colorado won, especially with a rotated Atlanta side, like you said. I'm surprised that Diego Rubio balled out as much as he did. Again, like, really good player, in my opinion, but has never felt like the guy who is going to take Colorado to that next level. And he looked really good this week. Is he going to do that every week? Probably not. But it's a nice step to see he can do it. Colorado's defense really had to hold strong because they let up a lot of chances to Atlanta. Yarbrough did kind of get peppered there at the end. A lot of blocks. It was a all-around good performance, though. I've never seen anyone as white as Jack Price in my life. And I'm a ghost. And I'm sorry, I was watching the highlights like 2 or 3 times today because I was really astounded by this. Not that the game was exciting, but I was just astounded.
I was excited.
Very white. Like, he's just so white. Like, and it shows up like really well when you're in Colorado and it's cold everywhere, anyways. So you're already like whiter.
Snow.
Like,
I don't get it.
Dude.
It's crazy.
I love Jack Price. I think he's a good player. I just thought I'd point that out, that he like shone bright on my screen. So let's talk about this Diego Rubio assist to former NYCFC player Jonathan Lewis.
We can do it. We can do it.
It was like it was a really nice takeaway by Rubio and right around midfield, brought it down and just like it was like one touch and then chipped it over the Atlanta defender who wasn't Miles Robinson but the other center defender, and just right to Jonathan Lewis's foot, which for just an easy tap in past a guy doing this, Brad Guzan doing the splits and doing. I don't know if you guys also saw the highlights. Brad Guzan does what any good goalkeeper does after he does a split and lets the ball in. He keeps it stretching. He kept stretching out the split to let everyone know I really tried on that one, and I loved it. It was an amazing.
Make sure you're ready for the next one.
You will be, but it was an amazing ball, and I was really impressed because I didn't know Diego Rubio had that.
No, I mean, look, I know Jason, when we were talking about topics for the show, obviously he couldn't be here tonight, but he wanted to bring up Diego Rubio. So Sam, thank you for giving Rubio.
I got you, Jason.
Former
Vaughn,
Sporting Kansas City.
Yes, there we go. Thank you.
Right. All I'm saying is, if we look at every team, NYCFC has just spread the talent. That's all I'm saying. Current MLS Cup champion, as NYCFC have just spread the talent throughout the league.
It's gonna be a long year. It's gonna be a long year.
Hey, as long as we have the title, you're gonna hear it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna need like November 9th to show up real quick.
When we win our second title. Thank you. Okay.
Probably not.
Let's keep it moving. We
gotta keep playing the way you're playing, bro.
You're right. Let's keep it moving. Let's quickly walk through some of these games where it's not that there's not a lot to say, but we can move quickly. Let's dive through Columbus and San Jose. So early on in this one, San Jose scores on a PK. Jamiro Montero gets a red card. Tie things up right before the half. Lucas Zelarayan, I think, throw him in the early season MLS MVP conversations right now. 68th minute, Zardes scores. 73rd minute, Zelarayan scores again. Crew's up 3-1. They're chilling. They're living life. Then comes Francisco Calvo. If there was any episode for Jason to
former
be here,
Chicago Fire.
He was
former Minnesota United.
Fine.
Yeah.
Who scores off another former Minnesota United, Jan Gregus.
Yeah,
free kick.
True. Jan Gregus free kick sets up Francisco Calvo's goal in the 84th minute to make it 3-2, and then in stoppage time, Grey Goose corner, sets up Calvo for the game tying goal at home. San Jose comes away with a 3-3 draw at home, saving a point at home. I don't know where to take this. All I want to say about this game is San Jose has let up a lot of goals to start the season. I don't care that they came back and tied this one and got a point at home. You're still a bad team, even continuing after your loss against the Red Bulls at home last week. And Columbus completely blew this game. You had this game. You should have won 3-1 and moved on. But you were up a man, up 3-1. Like, there's no excuse to lose this game. That's all I want to say about this one. Either of you have a Columbus San Jose take you want to throw out there?
Just two quick ones. Zelarayan, he's in that same boat of having a fantastic start to the season.
Yep.
I think he's up to 3 goals now through 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's at like 3-3 on goals and assists right now.
Yeah, he's been a monster out there. He got the free kick goal in this one. That's huge for Columbus if they're going to get that Zelarayan week in and week out. And then for San Jose, I've talked about like the sports psychology side of things, and like my concerns for them are like the vibes. They had to come from behind. Terrible vibes, but they had to come from behind. Result at home, playing down a man. Like they came back from 2 goals down a man. And so that's huge for a team that I didn't think had that fight in them. We know an Almeida side should have that fight in them. But to see it and to see them execute, and for Calvo to start his Earthquakes career with 2 like that, no credit to them.
Yeah, no, for sure. Look, and I think if we want to transition into a team that has a lot of good vibes around them, because if we don't talk about sports psychology,
vibes are good.
Gerhard Struber, Vaughn, we talked about this last week. I think he was doing some type of coaching manipulation where he was just like, I'm going to shit on my team and we're going to come ball out because our coach thinks we suck. And the Red Bulls through 2 weeks look like one of the best teams, if not the best team in Major League Soccer performance-wise, right? They come away with a 4-1 win on the road over Bradley's TFC. Lewis Morgan with his first hat trick for the Red Bulls. Patrick Klimala, an assist hat trick of his own, assisting on all 3 of Morgan's goals, right? Like, it was just another very strong, solid game for mainly every single person on this Red Bulls roster. We see Aaron Long scoring, him coming back after 2021 out injured. Like, this Red Bulls team has looked very good through 2 weeks. I don't know how long they can keep it up. I don't know how long, we're going to see these types of performances from every single youngster and player on this team. But I like what I'm seeing. I don't know if either of you guys have a Red Bull take you wanna throw out there or not.
I think
Or
they're going to be
maybe
like it's like a Samson situation. Like, as long as John Tolkien keeps those lovely locks,
Yep,
they'll keep winning.
Joe Dirt. Yeah. Look, John Tolkien and Dylan Mialis might turn into the best fullback pairing in Major League Soccer, and I will own that comment now and say at the end of the season that they will be, because they look very good. Like, they look strong. Dylan Mialis, it looks like he's ready for a starting fullback role, playing next to his brother Sean. And then John Tolkien, just, I think, kind of looking like that Red Bull talent that we've heard for so long. So another big win for the Red Bulls. Good on them. Let's talk about New England win over Dallas. The only thing I really want to mention here is, Bruce Arena just continuing to set records across Major League Soccer. He picked up his 241st regular season win, which sets him above everyone else as the all-time MLS regular season wins leader. That was just most recently held by Sigi Schmidt, who had 240 regular season wins. So congratulations, Bruce. And Vaughn, you also wanted to shout out Earl Edwards Jr. for his first ever MLS. Shout out. So, yeah.
Yeah, he helped me in fantasy, unlike Vela.
we know who's better.
we know who Vaughn's a favorite of on this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving. Let's chat Nashville, Minnesota really quickly. Nashville comes away with another road result early on in the season. They pick up a win last week against Seattle. Now you get a 1-1 draw against Minnesota. I don't know if you guys saw this, but that Dax McCarty ball into Hani Mukhtar, who just tapped it to CJ, like, Dax McCarty might have had the pass of the weekend, pass of the season. Like, just give it to him right now, because that thing was a laser to Hani Mukhtar. But Sam, I'll turn it to you. Any kind of Nashville takes through 2 weeks so far?
No, I think the win against Seattle was a good win. Away in Seattle is tough. On the road in Minnesota, also tough, especially in March. So far, Nashville's kind of, holding course, doing their best. I think the team looks pretty good. Give them a couple home games, let them warm up a little bit. I think they'll be looking pretty good.
Yeah. Let them come a little bit more east where they're familiar.
Yeah,
Vaughn,
play some East Coast teams.
Any Nashville or Minnesota takes, I guess, at this point?
I mean, for Nashville, four points in 2 road games to start the year against 2 tough opponents. I mean, playoff teams in that side of the conference.
Yeah.
So, great start for them. I think they're building. We've talked about it. Nashville is going to be a contender, and we've seen that. And for Minnesota, I thought it was good that they fought back into the game, and I think it was Dotson that got the equalizer, I believe.
It was Dotson off a free kick.
Yeah, so for them, that's a good sign if he's getting involved early. So yeah, good game.
I think Matt Doyle again pointed it out. If you guys haven't realized, and people listening, I'm a big Matt Doyle fan. I know there's plenty of people who don't like the bald man genius of Major League Soccer, but I think he knows what he's talking about. He pointed out that Nashville SC, for a team that is so defensively stout, so good, like, you're not going to break them down, best defense in the league, whatever you want to call them. They are so awful on set piece defending, and it burned them in this one. It's crazy. You got to take advantage of it where you can get it, I guess. And
the other thing, there was one play that caught me off guard, and it was when Luis Amarilla turned Zimmerman. There was a play where Amarilla totally got in on goal, should have probably had a PK opportunity, but he outbodied, outmuscled, and outpositioned Walker Zimmerman. And if Luis Amarilla starts doing that regularly, and he is able to start getting onto the ball, his 25 goals that was his goal tally target for Minnesota. That move, even though it didn't lead to a goal, really impressed me. And I think that's something that stood out to me where that's another really good sign for Minnesota if they can get contributions from him.
Look, I don't want to take any conversation of this away from Minnesota. Minnesota's a good team. They're a fine team. Like you said, Vaughn, if you can get players involved early and maybe confidence up early, if you can get Hassani Dotson scoring off a few set pieces or a player like that, producing off of set pieces, Amaria just absolutely turning, arguably the best defender in Major League Soccer. Maybe this is a sign to come of Minnesota really coming into their own later on in the season. I don't know. We don't know. Let's just keep enjoying Major League Soccer, right?
That's the spirit.
And let's quickly run through two more games. Sam, I'm going to turn this next one to you. DC pick up another win. Yeah. They are 2-0 on the season. Maybe not the same way they beat Charlotte week 1, but stoppage time PK from Ola Kamara, Bill Hamid playing another huge role in this one. I guess as our DC aficionado here, how are you feeling after 2 weeks? How are you feeling after this win over Cincinnati?
Look, I was feeling a lot better after week 1 than I was feeling after this one.
True.
Let's be honest. I think most people were expecting DC to kind of walk in and just kind of kick the teeth in on Cincinnati. And there was a VAR goal ruled out, I think, in the first half, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of felt like, Cincinnati was like a lot better than I think DC was expecting them to be, and a lot better than most people were. But I thought Cincinnati looked good enough. They should have. I feel bad for them. They should have gotten the point out of that game. In all honesty, they should have. It was a dumb mistake from that defender to really make his body big with his arm, and he caught the ball. And it happens. Like, that's just it's bad defending, and you got burned for it. And DC gets lucky on the road, and sometimes luck's good. Bill Hamid looks great right now. I can't believe how good he looks right now, and I'm really happy with that. I hope his form stays. But I don't know how DC keep getting all these penalty decisions. I see your stat here, 11 for 12 under Losada. I don't quite understand how that keeps happening.
It's insane.
But it is weird, isn't it? But I can't figure out how, because there's nothing like in Losada's tactics that are going for these. Like, he's not the type of coach who's like, you're going to fall down easy in the box. Like, that's not the kind of coach he is. That's not the kind of like style he's trying to go with. Like, but it just seems to keep happening every other week that there's like a penalty, and I don't quite get it. So we'll see what happens.
I don't get it either. Maybe Losada ball somehow does just influence more penalties to be called. I don't know.
There's a lot of these like overlapping runs on the sides that are causing mismatches, and maybe you're like, I haven't seen every penalty last season, but maybe you're getting guys turned that are just trying to make a last minute save. I don't know, but it does seem weird.
Then you get Ola Kamara, who can just convert, all of them.
That's great.
So look, it's fantastic, right? If that's what the system
I'll take it.
allows
whatever. If that's what he's here for.
Sam, like you said, I think we have to give some credit to Cincinnati.
A lot of credit.
They showed up week 2. They played well in week 2, and definitely not week 1 Cincinnati. They adjusted, they adapted, and they improved.
Lucho Acosta looked really good.
And he showed up against his old team.
He looks really good. Former DC United, Lucho Acosta. There, so I got one. Today. We don't sell a lot of players.
You got one. Cool. Let's quickly chat about the last game that I think has some type of implication. But even with a red card on their side, the Philadelphia Union come away with a 2-1 win on the road over CF Montreal. Ale Bedoya, Daniel Gazdag both score shortly after halftime to kind of negate a first half goal from Lassie Lapalainen. Julian Carranza, he picked up his second yellow of the game around the 70th minute, I think. But even after late pushes, Montreal still can't find an equalizer. I hate the way Montreal kind of took that last 15 to 20 minutes. Like, I really don't think they played well up a man, but maybe Nancy was just getting ready for some CCL action midweek. But Vaughn, Sam, anything about this game, or just Philly pushing through with a win off pure talent? I don't know.
I mean, silver lining for Montreal is that Georgi Mihailovic is playing out of his mind.
Stud.
I mean, he is so good right now. And he had a goal that came off the board too that would have been the equalizer here. So that's maybe the silver lining for them. Philly's a good team, and we talk about road results, getting a road win here early in the season, massive for Philadelphia. That's the sort of thing that's going to propel them up the standings later on in the year. So huge result for Philly.
And the one thing that I just want to quickly point out about Philly and Nashville, a team that has so much depth, talent, a coach that knows how to win in the league. All the positive stuff we could say about both teams, probably most likely finishing towards the top of their conference. They don't have early season CCL to worry about. They can focus on CCL play and know where to have these guys eat up minutes. And I think that could be something that maybe sets them apart towards the middle to end of the season. So definitely just want to give them their love and their time as well. But boys, it's been a nice long episode. Week 2 did have a lot of action to it. Sam, anything you want to say to the listeners before we get out of here?
Thanks for listening, guys, and see you next week, right? I don't know.
That was a good one. I mean, that was clean.
You put me on the spot like that.
It is what it is. Sorry, I apologize. I'll set you up next week with more time.
There you
go. Vaughn, anything you want to say to the listeners?
I'm just happy that Sporting also got a win, 1-0 over Aceh Town. I'm sure we'll get an opportunity to talk about Aceh, Hector Herrera showing up in Houston. We've had some convos about how they might change Houston down the road, so we're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
That happened like so long ago into last week that I forgot we didn't talk about that on the podcast. Hector Herrera is going to Aceh is going to Aceh Town. I mean, that's just what it is. Like, he's going to be a game changer for them. I mean, if you want to hear our takes on Hector Herrera and Houston, go listen to the Western Conference preview. Vaughn and I kind of tackle what we think Hector Herrera could do. Lightly. It's not in super detail, but maybe we'll get a little Hector Herrera chat in closer to his arrival this summer from Atletico Madrid. The only other thing that I want to say is that starting tomorrow, March 10th, or whenever you're listening to this, starting on March 10th and every single Wednesday after that, we are going to be live on Twitter Spaces at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. MLS Aces, MLS Gone Wild, and MLS Now podcast. We kind of are coming together just to chat on Twitter Spaces. I know I'm going to be there for a majority of them. I don't know, Vaughn, Sam, if you guys want to be there, you totally can. I think it's going to be a rotation of people chatting soccer for 30 to 40 minutes on Wednesdays. That's good. Just to throw that out there for the people, definitely check that out and get involved in those conversations there as well. It's been a long week. It's Tuesday. It's been a long episode. I don't even know what day it is, but I do have to do one last thing and thank our sponsor, soccer90.com. If you guys want to get yourself the brand new MLS jerseys, t-shirts, hats, scarves, and really any type of MLS club, European club, U.S. men's national team, U.S. women's national team gear, and you guys want to save yourself some money, then go over to soccer90.com and use promo code MLSAces. That's promo code MLSACES to get yourself 20% off your order from soccer90.com. Some exclusions may apply to that, and thank you to Soccer90 for sponsoring this episode. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the podcast, and we will catch you next week.